Good evening from New York. I'm Chris Hayes. Renee Good was not a domestic terrorist. In fact, no one acting in good faith actually believes that, no matter what some of our Trump officials say at press conferences. And while there may be an argument to be had about her vehicle moving in the general direction of the officer who shot and killed her and what that officer felt in that moment, an officer identified today as Jonathan Ross, what no one can say in any kind of good faith is to make the argument that killing her was necessary, or that this 37-year-old mother of three who had just dropped her child off at school, driving her Honda Pilot with a glove compartment full of stuffed animals, was deliberately trying to run over anyone. The people desperately trying to get you to believe that are lying. They know it's wrong, too. They're trying to gaslight the American public into not believing their own eyes in a desperate attempt to run cover for the terrible decisions they made to make this tragic incident possible. They're the people that ordered all this. People like this man currently serving as vice president.
This was an attack on federal law enforcement. This was an attack on law and order. This was an attack on the American people. Many people in this room have been lying about this attack. She was trying to ram this guy with her car. He shot back. He defended himself. What I am certain of is that she violated the law. What I am certain of is that that officer had every reason to think that he was under very serious threat for injury or in fact, his life. What I'm certain of is that she accelerated in a way where she ran into the guy.
Tonight, an editorial in the National Catholic Reporter newspaper wrote the quote, "The vice president's comments justifying the death of Renee Good are a moral stain on the collective witness of our Catholic faith." A moral stain. Because, of course, we know all that's a lie. We have multiple videos of the agent shooting Renee Good. You can see for yourself that the allegation she was attempting some sort of ramming attack against an officer is just obviously and plainly untrue, and J.D. Vance knows it, of course. Here's one video moments before the shooting where you can see the agent, Jonathan Ross, circle around the car to position himself next to Good. Just seconds after that is when the other man approached the car trying to get her to leave. And you can see Good backing up the vehicle. And crucially, right before she is shot, you can see her wheels are turned to the right. The officer who shoots her is to the left, which means, as we all know, as we can all see as we look at it, she was neither ramming the officer with her car or trying to ram the officer with her car, and she certainly did not run the officer over. Those are all lies, obviously. And it is this moment, with the wheels turned to the right to get away, to avoid the officer, with the officer to her left out of the way of the car, it is at this moment the first shot is fired from this angle, inches away from the woman's face. And at that moment, you can see, plain as day on your television screen right here, that Ross is not in the car's path. Moments later, he is now perpendicular to the car. Do you see him in profile there? Do you see his arms extended? Do you see the profile of his face? Is that a man who is in front of the car? And again, this was a frenetic situation. I do not know what was going through Mr. Ross's mind at the time. Even if he did perceive himself to be danger at first, and all this is happening quickly, and we're looking at frame by frame, even if he believed himself to be in danger at first, in that moment there, his arms extended into the window of the mother of three who's 37 years old, that is clearly no longer the case. Now that he is next to her vehicle, when he is firing two more shots through the open window directly into Renee Gold's face. And it is difficult to believe the administration's argument that these final two shots were in self-defense, the ones you see there, captured on your screen, when you see the armed man shooting in profile into the window from that position. Quite a few moments after he shoots Renee Good, ultimately killing her, we see the officer in question, Mr. Ross, follow after her vehicle, which has now crashed into another car and a utility pole. The agent walks over to her, seemingly unimpeded, which sure as heck contradicts the claim by the President of the United States that Good ran over Ross with her car, and that, and I quote him here, "It is hard to believe he is still alive." Is that true? Is it hard to believe he's still alive? after he reached his arms into the car and fired off 2 shots at the woman's face? The investigation of this incident has been taken over by the Trump Department of Justice. State officials are exploring options to continue their own investigation independently from the FBI, but they have been forced out. State officials had not ruled out charging the agent with a crime. And again, I don't want to prejudge this. As I said before, it's a frenetic, kinetic situation. But he has not been charged. We don't know where he is. The Trump DOJ appears obviously unlikely to do so. Minnesota's Democratic Governor Tim Walz quoted George Orwell's 1984 when lambasting the Trump administration for trying to convince the American public not to believe what we can all clearly see on the tape.
People in positions of power have already passed judgment, from the president to the vice president to Kristi Noem, have stood and told you things that are verifiably false, verifiably inaccurate. They have determined the character of a 37-year-old mom that they didn't even don't know. The party told you to reject the evidence of your eyes and ears. It was their final, most important directive. It certainly feels like that in this moment.
Renee Good was an American citizen, one who did not know what jurisdiction these immigration agents who were aggressively approaching her car had over her. She didn't even know if these armed masked agents were who they purported to be as they tried to force her out of her own vehicle. They told her to move her car at first, and when she tried to move the car, she was killed at point blank range. It was a shocking act of violence. You're right to be shocked by it. And you can hear the panic and the shock and the trauma in the voices of bystanders when one witness, identifying himself as a physician, is blocked by armed men for simply going to check Renee Good's pulse.
Can I go check a pulse?
No! Back up! Now!
I'm a physician!
I don't care.
We understand. We got EMS coming. I get it. Just give us a second. We have medics on scene. We have our own medics.
Where are they?
In point of fact, as far as the reporting and eyewitness accounts are concerned, they weren't on the scene. It took 10 to 15 minutes to get them there. One of the men who heard the shooting, a guy who self-described conservative, acknowledged that what he saw from Trump's agents was not appropriate behavior.
Around 8:30 this morning, I was just getting up and I heard a bunch of commotion and whistling outside, and then I heard bang, 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 3 shots. I'm pretty right-leaning, but seeing this is not what you need to do. This is not how to do it. It's not how we're supposed to do things around here in America.
Immediately after the shooting, people were already in the streets. They were protesting their occupation by Trump's agents. And keep in mind the context here for what you saw last night, what we're seeing tonight. They were quite literally putting their lives on the line. They had just watched a nonviolent protester be killed, and yet people came out. We saw thousands and thousands of people in the streets last night. There were more today, all across the country, not just in Minneapolis. Americans refusing to back down or to give up peaceful resistance in the face of intimidation and deadly force. And tonight we're following another story, this one out of Portland, Oregon. The details right now are maddeningly scarce, but what we seem to know is that the local police confirm that 2 people this afternoon were shot by federal agents in that city. DHS says this was a targeted vehicle stop by agents from Customs and Border Protection. They have also claimed the driver was believed to be a member of a Venezuelan gang. The driver and the passenger were taken to the hospital, but their current condition is currently unknown, and we're going to keep looking at that for you tonight.